Today I want to focus on gear and camera options, what some of their benefits and everything are for capturing content, video, or still mostly I'm going to focus on video. And then I'm going to focus more on some of the options that you have, hardware, gear, accessories you have to use your cell phone for capturing video, because that's probably the one you're going to end up using the most. So cameras. First of all, every photographer gets asked, what's the best camera? What's the best camera for shooting video, for taking stills, for landscape, for street photography? Most photographers will tell you the best camera to use is the one you got with you. If you got one of these, and it's less than 4 or 5 years old, and it's of a decent quality, brand name, it takes really, really good video. By all means, feel free to use it. It does a good job. In fact, this video is being shot on an iPhone 13, so it's not even the latest iPhone. And by the way, if you're going to use your iPhone, if you're going to use your cell phone to shoot video, do not shoot video this way. Unless you're specifically shooting vertical video for a specific social media platform or website, don't shoot vertical video. Shoot this way. Landscape, horizontal video. 16 by 9, 1080p by 1920 pixels, HD TV. This is the way you see things on your television. This is the way you see things on your computer, your laptop screen, when you're watching movies and everything. Yeah, don't watch TV this way, watch it this way. So don't shoot vertical video, shoot it horizontal. Now I'll get through some options to make that a little bit easier once we get through the various types of cameras and everything. So, other than cell phones, what options do you have? Well, a lot of us still have one of these, point and shoot camera. Most of these point and shoot cameras, if it's not too old, shoots video, and it shoots pretty good video. Most of them, I don't think I've seen one for an awful long time that won't shoot 1080p HD video. So if you got one of these and you want to use it to shoot video, by all means go ahead, because they do a good job. Camcorders, these ones. This is my first ever camcorder. It actually shoots to tape rather than shooting to SD cards, solid state memory. So I don't use it, but they are a good option. I don't use this one. I actually use a camcorder. I use a Canon Vixia camcorder. It shoots to solid state memory cards, to SD cards. Makes it really easy to get the content I get on the camera out of the camera and into a laptop or a computer so that I can edit it. I actually use a camcorder, and I'll show you my rig when we get closer to the end. Other than camcorders, what have we got? Well, another option is GoPros. They're kind of a specialty camera. They're also known as action cameras. They're the ones that invented the category and are still top of the line. They're virtually indestructible. They shoot 1080p video. They're also waterproof, so you can actually put them underwater. So if you want to get videos of your fish swimming around in your pond, or the mink chasing them, GoPro's the way to go. You can stick them underwater and capture all kinds of stuff. And there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of options for mounting this to various things. You can stick them on the roof of your car, on your motorcycle, your bicycle. You can put them on your dog or your cat. You can do almost anything with GoPros. So they're virtually indestructible. GoPros, brand new, they're $300 or $400. You can get them used on Kijiji and eBay for the older models for a lot less than that. If you're going to buy a used GoPro, make sure it works before you actually put down the money and buy it, because you don't want to buy one that someone actually did destroy. I know they're almost indestructible, but they can be destroyed, so you don't want to end up buying one that's being destroyed. So there's your options with GoPros. Other camera options are, well, obviously, of course, the good old DSLR. If you got one of these and you're proficient with it, by all means use it. They pretty much all shoot really, really good video. And the fact that you can change lenses on them, you can get some really, really interesting results. Just if you have a DSLR and you've never shot video with it, you've only used it for shooting photographs, practice with it first, because the learning curve on shooting video with a DSLR is a little bit steeper than any kind of point shooter cell phone camera. This, in fact, is what most professional videographers use these days for shooting video. You'll see more and more when you go places, and professional videographers are shooting video. They're using a DSLR. It's mounted in a big fancy rig with lights and display panels and microphones and all kinds of stuff. But at the root of it all, it's a basic DSLR camera, so if you got one, feel free to use it. And of course, another way to go, again, really specialized, is the good old drone. This is a DJI Mavic Pro. It was about $1,000 when I bought it, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. You can get them now a lot cheaper. Even the Mavic Pros are a lot cheaper now. And you can get drones, small drones for, you know, $300, $400 sort of thing. Good name brand drones. So that's also an option for capturing content, kind of specialized. So that's all the different kind of cameras you can use, and what you want to do with them. What you can do with phones. If you're going to shoot with a phone, part of the problem a lot of people do is they're trying to shoot a phone, they're trying to shoot like this. Your arms get really tired when you're like that, and the phone starts to shake and jiggle and vibrate. You can't see it on the camera there, but I can certainly see it in the reflection of the camera. If you're going to shoot, try to get your arms in closer. In fact, if you can get your biceps in against your torso, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to hold the camera steady that way, and you'll get more stable shots. If you can mount the camera to something solid, for instance, here I've got my phone mounted to a tripod, so it's good and sturdy and solid. It's locked down. It's not going to move or vibrate or anything. A few ways to do that is, number one, if you don't want to lock it down, you want to move around, you can buy something like this. This is called a phone cage. And the way it works is, you put your phone in it, and you've got two handles, and you can now hold your phone nice and stable. You can mount the handles on the side, so you can have it, you know, this way if you really want to shoot vertical video, which I'm going to yell at you if you do. But this allows you to be able to hold the camera nice and steady. There's lots of quarter 20 holes, and there's even like a hot shoe here. So I can, for instance, I could mount a light on this. I could mount a microphone on it. So I'd have myself a really nice rig to be able to go out and shoot video and do it real stably. This one was just under $100. It's by a company called Neewer, which is, you can find a lot of their stuff on Amazon. They're really good for making brackets and accessories and stuff like that. This one I like because this also had this option here, which allows me to put the filters that I use on my DSLR camera and mount them on this rig so that I can use them with my phone. This happens to be a polarizing filter, an adjustable polarizing filter. So if I'm shooting, you know, at a lake or over a pond or over water, so there's lots of reflections off the water, I can use this polarizing filter to help cut that down on the phone. I can put in all kinds of various filters that I've used on my DSLR camera. That's one of the reasons I like that cage. You can buy cages cheaper, but they're really handy to have for when you're shooting content. If you want to mount a camera to a tripod, this is actually the one that I use. This mounts here, it mounts to the tripod of the camera, and I can then put my phone in like this and shoot video. I can rotate if I really want to. I have a cold shoe mount here, so again, I can mount a light on that, or a microphone if I want to. And there's lots of quarter 20 holes here for mounting other things, like another bracket if I want to put a microphone or something like that on this one. And that one just mounts right to the tripod. And I have a certain amount of adjustment as far as being able to, you know, change the angle of it, and you know, make sure that I get it pointed where I want to. And these are, you know, you can. This one is, I think this one is, that's a really good quality one. It was about $35, but you can get them as low as $10 on Amazon. So those are really handy to have for mounting your phone. Another option is, this is what they call a gimbal. It's a gimbal stabilizer specifically for a phone. You can get ones like this to mount a DSLR camera too, but they're a lot more expensive. This is one by DJI, which is the same company that makes my drone. They're a very high-end photography technology company, and this DJI Osmo, you can still buy it, and it's only about $150. And the nice thing about it is that it keeps your camera nice and steady. So if you're walking around It holds your camera nice and steady, so especially if you're walking on rough ground and you're kind of wobbling around a little bit, your your shot isn't doing this kind of thing, so it's going to be nice and stable. And you can just push a button, if I can get it to do it, and it rotates it to do vertical video if you really want to. But I don't shoot vertical video, I shoot horizontal. So that's that, and this can even be mounted to a tripod. It comes with its own little tripod as well, but these are handy as well. So that's another option if you're going to use a cell phone. Tripods. My phone right now is attached to it's mounted to a really good Manfrotto tripod. I love Manfrotto tripods. They're really, really good quality. They're heavy duty, they're sturdy, they're stable. My Manfrotto was about $300, $400, but I've had it for decades and I use it all the time, so it gets lots of use. You can buy inexpensive tripods out there. I actually bought one on Amazon for this one here. It only goes to 4 feet high, but that's fine because I can usually find, a tabletop or a bench or the hood of a rental car or something like that, or a rock to put it on. So if I want to get up high to eye level, I can do that. This was like $24 on Amazon. It's almost disposable. In fact, I have a friend who's a photographer and he travels a lot. He may be going off to Europe for a month or so. He wants to take his cameras with him and do photography work while he's there. He's not going to pack expensive, heavy Manfrotto tripods and all that sort of stuff. What he'll do is he'll pack all his camera gear. When he gets to Europe, he'll buy a cheap tripod someplace for, $100, under $100. He'll use that while he's there, and then when it's time to leave, he just leaves it in the hotel room. He considers it disposable because it's cheaper than trying to fly all this stuff around. So you can get really inexpensive tripods as well. There's, of course, this is one of the original GorillaPods. These were really popular at one time, and they still are. The nice thing about this is you can literally, wrap this around a tree branch, and mount your camera to it, or a park bench or whatever you want to. But they're really, really handy to have, and you can get them in all kinds of little sizes. I got a little one here for if I'm using my phone or a point and shoot camera, and I don't want to use the bigger GorillaPod. There's those. You can get all kinds of accessory brackets, stuff like that. This is one I got. I could mount my camera here, or I could mount, like my camcorder here, and it gives me 2 cold shoes where I could mount like a light and a microphone. So this gives me a nice handheld sort of bracket that's got my camera and light and everything on it, and it lets me be able to carry it and point it by my hand. And they're handy to have. Lights. I want to talk about lights. One last thing for mounting. This is what they call a slider. This one was about $100. It's a fairly inexpensive one. It's a pretty basic slider. But this, I can mount it using this plate. I can mount that to the top of a tripod, or it can sit on its 4 feet if I wanted to. And what it does is, as the name implies, it slides and it goes back and it goes back, and that's really all it does. The neat thing about that is that I can have it go back and forth. I can have it go away and toward, or up and down, or at an angle. You can get some really, really interesting effects. I've got a real simple ball mount on this for a camera. I could, if I wanted to, and sometimes I have done, mount a big Manfrotto head onto it to give me even more control. And I can use this to mount my big DSLR onto the slider. The neat thing about sliders is it gives you a really unique perspective on the shot. When you're shooting with a regular camera, when you pan the camera, the foreground stays fairly stable, but the background moves a lot because of the angle of the lens changing direction. The neat thing about a slider is when you move the slider back and forth, because the camera's not changing its angle, the background, especially the background is way off in the distance, it stays really stable and doesn't move much. But the foreground moves in and or out of the shot, and you can get some really interesting effects. I shot one up at the lake, up at the cottage several years ago, that I like to use. It's a good example of the effect that it has. So I'll stick that little clip into this video so you can see what it looks like, to get an idea of what a slider shot looks like. In fact, I think I'm going to stick it in right about here. Did you notice the difference in that shot, how the background stayed fairly stable, but the foreground moved an awful lot? You can get some really interesting effects using a slider, and they're not that expensive. So that's it about brackets and stuff like that. Lighting. I want to talk about lighting, because that's pretty important when it comes to capturing content. If you're just out shooting gardens and stuff like that, you don't have to worry too much about it. But if you're shooting how-to videos, and for instance, as I am here, I'm talking to you on camera, so you're trying to listen to what I say, it's important for communication for you to be able to see my face and see my eyes. So if you're going to be doing something like this, do not wear a hat with a brim. Baseball cap, a brimmed hat, just like what I'm wearing. I know, do what I say, not what I do. The reason for that is, especially if you're outside and it's a sunny day, the camera is going to try and stop down the exposure in the scene because it's so bright and it doesn't want to be all blown out, so it's going to stop everything down. So what happens is, because of the brim, the shadow from the brim of the hat, especially a baseball cap, your face gets really, really dark because it's hidden in a shadow, and people can't see your eyes, they can't see your facial expressions because they lose all the details. Now, I have got 3 or 4 lights scattered around here behind the camera, intentionally lighting my face so you can see my facial expression and my eyes. I'm aware of the brim of the hat and what it's going to do, so I'm making sure that I light for it. So that's an important thing to remember. Yes, you can wear a hat and you can do things like that, but make sure you use lights. What can you do for lighting? This is one of the first lights I got. It runs on batteries, and it's LEDs, and I can adjust the brightness. And it has a clear lens, it has a frosted lens to soften the light a little bit, and it has an amber lens to give me a warmer light color if I'm using it indoors. Because indoor incandescent lights give you a much warmer, almost amber colored light. So that's an option. That was, I can't remember, it wasn't very expensive, it was maybe $30 or something like $40, but I bought that years ago. This is a newer version of that. It's also an LED light panel, and I can mount, this is from a company called SmallRig. SmallRig is another company that makes a lot of camera accessories and stuff like that, photography accessories, and they're good to know. They're on Amazon a lot. This is nice because it's rechargeable, so I don't have to worry about batteries. And I don't know if you can see it too well on the camera, but I can change the color tone from white to warm to cool. And I can also adjust the brightness down to very little, or turn it up an awful lot. And these are really, really inexpensive, $30 each. So they're a handy option. They've got a little cold shoe mount, so you can mount it on, on a camera bracket or a rig or something like that. They've also got cold shoe mount things all around it, so you can mount other stuff on top of it, so you can stack them or, put a bunch of them together if you wanted to. So they're handy and they're inexpensive and they're lightweight. You can get all kinds of LED light panels very affordably on Amazon or Henry's Camera or B&H Photo out of California or VizTech in Toronto. And another option that a lot of photographers use is one of these. This is a reflector, and it does a good job of reflecting light. And you could put this, on a table in front of you. The sun's shining on that, reflecting on your face, and that lights you up. And the neat thing is, these things here, I'm going to blind the camera, fold up. They fold up really small, and they fit in a little bag like this. And That was a 30-inch reflector that I just showed you. It has not just silver, but it has a white side and also has a gold side. So if I was using it indoors, I could get the warmer light. Or I could use just the white one if I wanted a duller. I didn't want a brighter reflection from the silver. So that's another option for lighting. I have a third option for lighting, and that's on my rig. So I'm going to show you my rig now. This is the rig I use all the time. This has got my camcorder on it. I've got a microphone on here as well. I'm going to do a separate video talking about audio and sound and microphone and stuff like that, because I think that deserves its own. This is my rig. I have two Lume Cube lights. These are Lume Cube 2s. You can still buy them. They're about $100 each from Henry's. I like them because they're infinitely controllable. And I can control them with my phone. I can sync them to my phone. I can sync them to my DSLR camera and use them as just a flash. I can make them really, 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 really bright or dim them down. I bought these years ago. I've been using these for years. There weren't a lot of options back when I bought these, which is why I bought them. But now there's a lot more options out there. It's amazing what the pandemic did to things like this. So anyway, that's my regular rig. It's a Canon Vixia RF 2000 camcorder. You can still buy these on eBay for like $100. There's a Rode shotgun microphone and a couple of lights on a bracket, and this can mount to the top of a tripod, or I can put a pistol grip on there so I can use it, or I can mount it to anything. So that's my regular rig. I think that covers about everything. Again, thanks for watching, thanks for downloading. We'll see you around. Bye for now.